Good morning, YouTube. I am Bearded Ink, and today we're going to cover first in chat redeem. So, this was requested by a good friend of the stream and the channel, Kleina Conan, for having a first redeem to let people know who was actually first in your chat when you go live. Um, this has also been one of the few little tutorials I have done offline for other people to help them get functionality for this redeem themselves. So we decided to make a full tutorial for it to let everybody know. So first, we're going to cover what are channel point redeems. For first in chat. First in chat redeem is basically a channel point redeem that a person can use right when you go live, and they click the redeem, and then it gives them a message or something that says you are officially the first one here. It is something that a lot of people like to celebrate, a lot of people like to strive for, which is why going live notifications and all that are so important. And it gives a sense of friendly competition to your chat to see who can arrive to your live stream first. What we're going to do today, though, is I'm going to show you how to make a very simple, very basic first in chat redeem. And this is going to basically be a redeem point that we can set. And then it will post a message in chat. Then we're going to add a little bit of more advanced stuff to it where we are going to use OBS, and we are going to have their profile picture and maybe a little message or something displayed on screen, as well as the chat message. And then we're going to take it one step further, and we're going to not only include a counter to see how many times a specific individual has been first, but we're also going to add a first 5 people in chat in one channel point redeem. That's right. 5 people can redeem it, and it will keep track of who is in which position. So we're going to cover all of that. So grab your snacks, grab your drinks, open up your Streamer.bot and your OBS, and get ready to follow along. Hopefully we can get through this very quickly, but you know me, we like to be thorough and detailed. So use the chapter headers down below if you need to skip ahead or go back and review something that we previously covered. But other than that, what do you say we just get right into it? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be in Streamer.bot. Now, I'm using the beta version of 2.5, but for what we're using Streamer.bot for today, as long as you are on version 2.4, everything should be pretty much identical. But just keep that in mind that if you come later on in the year and 2.5 is already released, we are on the beta version, so there may be a couple of changes, so things may look a little different, but all the functionality is going to be the same. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to create an action for our redeem. So we're just going to come in here. I'm going to put this in my test section, I believe. If I can find my test section. There it is. That's the one we want here. Okay, so let's just zoom in here where we are. So I'm just going to come in here, and we're just going to make a new one. We're just going to add, and then we're going to come to our little add thing. We're going to call this first in chat redeem, just to keep it simple and organized so we know what we're dealing with. Of course, you can name this whatever you want. Let me close this up to keep things organized as well. All right, so our first in chat redeem is the one that's highlighted. So now we're going to make a sub action. And again, like I said, we're going to do very basic to start with. So we're just going to send a message to chat, but we need to tell the chat who the person is. So if you're on Twitch, you're going to come into your sub actions. You're going to right click. We're going to go to Twitch. We're going to go all the way down to user and then get user target. We're going to click that. We're going to come up here to the source type, and we're going to get user. And this will populate all the username and user ID variables that we need. So we're going to click OK there. Now, if you are on YouTube, you can skip that step because YouTube doesn't have a separate population for their variables, right? So we don't need the Twitch target or the add info redeem. So now we need to send a message. So if you are on Twitch. Again, we're going to go to Twitch. We're going to go to chat, and then we're going to send message to channel right here. Okay. So we're going to click that, and then you can type your message here. And we're just going to say %user is first in chat. No others can be first today. Snooze and lose, or whatever, right? So you can obviously say this to whatever you want. Now I want my bot account to say this, and we're going to fall back to the broadcaster if the bot account becomes disconnected or whatever. And this is different in 2.5 as well. 2.4 will have the drop down up here for you to pick bot account or broadcaster account. Okay, so we're going to click OK. Now, if you're on YouTube, we're going to do the same thing, but you're going to go to your YouTube section and send a YouTube message. And it's still going to be the same variable, %user, to bring in their username. All right. But since we're dealing with channel point redeems, we're not going to focus too much on YouTube because YouTube doesn't have channel point redeems. But if you are on YouTube and you want this, you can simply make your trigger a command. You can do like !point first, and then the first person that uses it will get the message. And then you can set if it is, used once, you can then disable. So you can just add a disable function here to disable the command. And then that way, like nobody else can use it, right? So the first person to use it, it then auto disables itself. Nobody else can use it until you re-enable the command on your next live stream or whatever. But for the rest of this, we're basically going to focus on the Twitch because of the channel point redeems. So if you are on YouTube, of course, you can follow along with some of the other things we're going to do, like showing the profile pictures and stuff like that on OBS and on your stream. Just keep in mind that there is no channel point redeem. So those sections, obviously, you're going to have to work out and ignore those parts on your own, right? Okay, so now we have to actually make a channel point redeem on Twitch. And to do that, we're going to go up here to the top. We're going to go to platforms and then Twitch and then channel point rewards. And we want Streamer.bot to control all of our channel points. So we're going to create the channel point here in Streamer.bot. So we're just going to right click somewhere and we're going to click add. We're going to give this a title. We're going to call it first. I already have a first in chat. So we're just going to call this one first one here. And we're going to give this a cost. You want it on the cost, you want to give it something that, obviously people can use. You want it to be cheap, but you don't want like, spammers to be able to use it. So anything over 1, right? Because you're going to get some channel points if you follow the channel, but people just coming to your stream for the first time won't have any. So they will have to be there a while before they get to use it. So I like to set mine at like 10. And there is no user input required. So we're just going to put the prompt here, be the first one here. This is our prompt. You can pick your color if you want. So we're going to go with a nice orange just to make it stand out a little bit. And then of course, the redemption skips queue, the max per stream. You can set this to 1 if you would like. That way it can only be used once. The max per user per stream, you can leave that to 0 if you have your per stream there. And then other settings, the persist counter and the persist user counter, we may come back to these in the advanced stuff, but for right now, we're going to skip it. Okay, so we're just going to leave it. I'm actually going to set this down to 0 because we are testing, but it is something you want to keep in mind. Max per stream, set that to 1 so that, only one person can be first. Okay, so we're going to click OK. And then as you can see, if I come over here to my chat, and I click on this here, you can see that it's right here. It's already in Twitch in the channel point redeems, and it is ready to go, but we don't have it tied to anything. So we're going to go back to the bot now. We're going to go back to our action, right? We're going to make sure that we're clicked on it and highlighted, and then we're going to go to our triggers. And now we're going to add our trigger. So we're going to come down to Twitch. We're going to go to rewards, I think is what it is. Channel, maybe channel reward. There it is. And then reward redemption. Okay, come on, mouse, keep up. So reward redemption, we're going to get this pop up, and then we just pick our one that we did, which is called first one here. So there it is. And now, okay. So now Let me zoom out a little bit. So now we basically have our first redeem. We have a channel point reward for it, as you can see over here. And then what it's going to do is it's going to gather the name of the person that redeemed it and populate our message. So if we use this, we should be able to see, we get a message right here. Bearded Ink is the first in chat. No others can be first today. Snooze and lose, which is exactly what we typed in our message. And so there it is. Now it's working. Easy, right? That's all you got to do. But we want more than that, right? We want more functionality than that. We want to be a little more professional, if you will. So let's do this. Let's add a counter to the redeem to let us know how many times that person has been first in our chat. We're going to come back to our sub actions here, and we're going to set a new global variable. Okay, so we're going to right click in. We're going to go to core. We're going to go to globals, and then we're going to set the global. We want to be able to populate this variable for each time that it is used. Okay. But this is going to be an increment because we're going to increase it, right? So this is going to actually be a redeemer. So the user redeemer, this is the person that redeems the channel point. And we want it to be persisted because you want this to count every time. And if you uncheck this box, every time you close Streamer.bot, this variable will get deleted and it'll start over from 0. So we want to leave it persisted, and then we want to give it a name. So we're just going to call it something like first chatter. Okay. And then we're going to increment first chatter by 1. So this is what your set global should look like here. Of course, you can name the variable whatever you want, but first chatter is just, easy. It'll keep it simple. And then we're going to click OK. And then as you can see, it'll go to the bottom here, and we need to move it up to underneath the add info from who redeemed, because we have to get the user info before we can populate a variable with their username in it, right? So this will add the first chatter variable to that specific user, and then everybody that uses it will get that variable for their username. Okay. After we have the variable set, then we need to get that variable information. So we've set it in the variable list, and now we need to retrieve that information so that we can use it. So again, we're going to right click on here. We're going to go to core. We're going to go back to globals, and this time we're going to do global get. Okay. And the global get again is going to be the redeemer, because that's where we're getting it from. It is persisted, and the variable name is first chatter. Now the destination variable, this you can leave it as also first chatter, but a lot of people like to put something appended at the end of it, so it makes it a little bit different, just in case there is a conflict. So we can do like just chatter arg. You can do just chatter 1. I'm going to leave it with argument because we're declaring the argument. We're going to leave the default value at 0, so that way it'll populate with whatever it is in the set global. So we're going to leave that there. And then again, we're going to pull this above our Twitch message. So now we've pulled in the user, we've populated their first chatter variable with the number and incremented it by 1. And then we have gathered that number and set it to first chatter arg. So we're going to go now into our Twitch message. And we can just, at the very end of it, we can say percent user has been first in chat, and then we'll do our variable. So percent first chatter arg percent times. Now, you can put the little parentheses around the S because the 1 is not plural, right? Or you can just leave it because obviously after the first one, it's going to be times, and it just makes it easier. So the first time they redeem it, it'll be a little awkward. It'll say person chat 1 times, but after that, we're not going to get into, we could do variables, and we could do, if else statements to change which message is sent and to make it all perfect, but I leave that up to you to explore and to do if you want to. All right. So now we have our message here, and let's hope that everything works right. So now if we go in and redeem this again, we're going to do this. We should get our message. There it is. So if we look in now, we'll see Bearded Ink is first in chat. No others can be first today. Snooze and lose. Bearded Ink has been first in chat one time or times. Right. But if I redeem it again, it should say 2 times. And you see that there. And if we redeem it again, it'll say 3 times. Because why not? Right? So there you go. That's how we do that. And then that'll also keep a track of how many times. So people have something else to brag about. You know, oh, you may be first this time, but you've only been first 3 times. I've been first 7 times. You know, and it just gives your chat something else to talk about while your stream is getting started, which is really good. We're going to take it one step further now, and we're going to actually add stuff on screen, visible, maybe a graphic and a sound, maybe and some text. So we're going to set OBS up with what we want, and then we're going to come back to our redeem here, and we're going to add that info into the sub actions to make it all work together. Okay, going to create in OBS the text that we want to use, and then we're going to add a spot for the profile picture for the person. Okay. Now, this is going to be a browser source, but it is going to be a local one that doesn't really exist. And if you just follow along, I'll show you what I mean. But we're going to go over to a different scene, and then I'm going so I can show you what is actually going on here. Okay. So we're going to go to my alerts scene, and this scene is where I keep all of my like alerts and everything like that. You can make your own scene for this if you like. You can call it whatever you want. Just keep in mind whatever you call it, where it's located. And then if you are using a new scene, you will have to nest this scene in all of your other scenes. So, you know, we've covered nested scenes a few times before in my tutorials, but if you're still confused, just hit me up in the comment section below and we'll get you sorted. So we're going to go over here now, and I've added my audio and my webcam to this scene. So hopefully you can still hear me. So in this scene now, we want to, this is just a blank scene. It has all of my alerts on it for all of my little different things that pop up and stuff. So we're going to make a, we're going to add a new source into the scene, and we're just going to call it first profile picture or something like that. So I'm going to add, and we're going to add a browser source. Okay, and I'm just going to name this first PFP image, IMG. Okay, and I'm going to click OK, and then you're going to see this thing will pop up. Now in the URL, and I'm going to put this on screen, but in the URL, you want to put about : blank, and that's just going to make a blank image. The width and height, I would leave this set to 800 by 600. I would make it something more square and smaller because it is a profile picture. So let's do 150 by 150 on the width and height. And then we can say OK to everything. And then you'll see I have this little bitty red square with nothing in it because it hasn't been populated. So we're just going to pop that right in the middle of the screen, Control D to center it. But you can, again, put it wherever you prefer, right? And then we're going to add another source here. And this is going to be a text GDI source. So we're going to click on Add. We're going to go to text GDI. We're going to name this first message. So MSG first message. And then I'm just going to put a CP for channel point. Again, name it whatever you like. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but basically we're now in the properties manager here for this. And I'm just going to set the font to about 72. And we're going to pick a nice little font. I don't know. I'm just going to go with Architect's Daughter because that's one I have and it's close to the top. And then we're just going to put in some text here. Bearded Ink is first. right? So you can see that now. And now what we want to do is we want to drag this under our profile picture, which is right here. So we're going to come down here. And of course, you can make this message say whatever you want, right? But I'm going to leave these both visibility on, and we're going to go back to our tutorial screen here. And we're going to add our nested scene. So we're going to come in here, we're going to add a scene, we're going to add our alerts, and then there it is. Okay, so actually, because the text is white, we never really know what our font color or our screen color is going to be behind the message. So we want to make this stand out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it red for now, but I'm going to give it an outline. So I'm going to click on outline below, and I'm going to pick another color. White is pretty good. Black is also good. Just something that's a little bit different so that it stands out on both a light and a dark screen. And I'm going to click OK. And now that we have that, I'm going to go back to our tutorial screen for you here. And we're going to turn on our alert scene, and you should be able to see the text there. But obviously you don't see the profile picture, right? Because it's not there. So now I'm going to turn the visibility of this off so it doesn't get confusing and in the way, but we'll turn it back on before we test just so you can see everything. So what we want to do is now we're back in our source here, or in our sub actions. We want to set what the global is, or not the global, I'm sorry. We want to set what the profile picture is going to be. Now, because we've added the info from who redeemed, we have a new variable called target user profile image URL. And I know that's a lot. And if you don't want to learn to type it, you can come to your action queues, the action history, where we have run our first in chat redeem. And if you right click on that and choose inspect variables after run, you will come down here and you will find eventually there is a target user profile image URL. Okay, and this is what we want to copy. So we're just going to copy that variable. And that is basically the web address that Twitch uses to pull in your profile image. It pulls it in at a 300 by 300, which is really nice. But if you're on YouTube, you have the same thing. It just has a different variable name. I think it's, I don't remember what it's called, but you will find it there. And it's the same thing. So you can do this on YouTube as well. So once we have that command or variable, we're going to come back to our sub actions. We're going to right click. We're going to go to OBS, so sources, and then set browser source URL. Okay, because we have it, remember the image is a browser source with the about blank as the URL. So we're going to come in here, we're going to go and find our alerts, because that's where I put it. We're going to find the first in, what did I call it? First profile picture image, first PFP image there. And then the URL is going to be the %, and then what we copied over, target user profile image, and then the % again. So this will populate the URL tag in our browser source in OBS with the actual URL of that profile picture. Okay. So we want to do that before the message. So we're just going to drag that up. And then we need to set what the text is going to say. So again, we're going to come and right click. We're going to go to OBS. We're going to go to sources, and then we're going to set GDI text. Okay. And then this one is the same thing. We're going to pick the scene that it's in, which is the alert scene, the source that it is. Now this is going to be the first, what did I call it? I called it something. First message, channel point, right? And then so here we can actually use a variable user, and then that will be the user's name. And then we have ours saying is first in chat. You can make it say whatever you want. If you wanted to have a second line, no others can be first. So there we go. We have that. We're going to click OK. And again, we're going to set that above the Twitch message. So that way, when we know that everything is run, when we see the message in the Twitch chat. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come, let's unzoom. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to turn the alerts back on. Okay, just so you can see it. But we're going to come in here and we're going to redeem it again. We're going to trigger this one. Now, hopefully we'll get our message in chat with our counter, which now count up to 4. We should also see my profile picture above the words, and it should say the message that we put into the GDI text. So let's see what happens. So there you go. Now you can see Bearded Ink is first in chat. No others can be first. And it has my little profile picture right there. And then, of course, if we check in on the Twitch chat, it has incremented again, which you can't see because of my message. But there you go. First in chat 4 times right there at the very bottom of the screen. So it has done its job. It is doing its thing. But the problem you can see here is that it's staying on screen, right? So we need to correct that. So what we're going to do is in OBS, we're going to go into our alert scene, and I'm going to turn the visibility of both of these off. Okay, so when we go back to our tutorial screen, now they're not there, but technically they're still there. They're just not visible. So we need to turn them on, let them be there for a little bit, and then we're going to turn them back off. We can do that in Streamer.bot here. Well, we're just going to come in here. We're going to first off set a source visibility state for each of these, and then we will set a delay, and then we'll turn the visibility back off. So we're going to go here. We're going to go right click into OBS. We're going to go back to sources, set source visibility state, the very bottom one here, right over here. Okay. We're going to click on that, and then we're just going to pick our 2 sources again. So the first one is in our alert scene, and it is the, what do we call it? The first PFP image. So it should be up here. Let's see, first PFP image, state is visible. Now we can just duplicate this real quick and then just come in here, and all we have to change is the source. And this is going to be the first message CP or whatever you called yours for the text. And we're going to make both of those visible. We're going to drag them below where they get populated. Okay, so we're setting what the profile picture image is here. We're setting the text, and then we're turning the visibility on. Okay, so you want to do that. We're going to send the Twitch message, and then we're going to set a delay. Now, your delay can be however long you want it. I think about 3 to 5 seconds is probably long enough for it to be on screen. So I'm going to go with 3 seconds or 3,000 milliseconds. We're going to click OK. And then I'm just going to duplicate both of these again right here. So now we have them, but we're going to go into each of them, and we're going to turn the visibility to hidden. So that way it turns them off. So after 3 seconds, it will turn the visibility off. Okay, so now if we check it again, we're going to come in here, we're going to test it. We're going to say, yep, it should pop up with my image and my message. It'll say I've done it 5 times here in the chat, and then it goes away and it's ready for the next redeem. And we could just cycle this over and over and over again, and it'll come up 3 seconds later, and then it just disappears, right? So there you go. Now you have that. You have an on-screen celebration. If you want to add a sound, you could do that as well, right? You know, like a little celebration sound or something like that. If you prefer, make it as wild and crazy and what happens on screen as you want. It's just all controlled right here. Just remember, if you turn images on or text on, you want to turn their visibility back off so that the next time it's already reset for that. Sound good? You liking it so far? All right, we got one more thing to do. Okay, so like I said, we're going to do one more thing now. And this is, like I told you in the beginning, if you wanted to have more than one first. So if you wanted to have first in chat, second in chat, all the way up to 5th in chat, whatever, we can do that. And you can have a separate redeem for each one and set each one to only being able to be used once. The problem with that, though, is you have people that'll come in and somebody will be first and then somebody will want to be 4th, even though they're technically 2nd, right? So a way around that is to only have one channel point redeem. So we're going to have one channel point redeem that gets a variable and decides on that, based on the value of that variable, which action it needs to run and what it needs to do to update the channel point itself, right? So seems a little complicated. It is actually very simple, but we do have a little bit of setup. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to just duplicate this first in chat redeem here. So let me zoom in for you. All I'm going to do because I'm going to keep this simple. But remember, you can expand on this any way you want. So I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate it 2 times. So this will have first, second, and third in chat. If you want 5, you'll want to do this 5 times, etc., etc. So I want to edit this here. We're going to remove the copy over here, and we're just going to change from first to second. And then the message over here that we have, obviously, is that the user is second in chat. And then we can delete all of this other stuff because it doesn't matter, right? Because they're not going to have a counter. Okay, so we can actually remove all of the counter stuff because we only want the counter to be on who redeemed it first. Okay, so we can get rid of all of that. So the first chatter, we can delete that. We can delete that. We still want their profile picture. We still want their message. The message, though, this time is we're just going to do a single line, and we're going to say they are second in chat. Okay. And then the source visibility state, of course, the same. We got the message here, second in chat, and then we turn the profile picture and the message off. So we need to do the same thing for the third one. So we're going to come in here. We're going to get rid of copy. We're going to come and change first to third. And then again, the same thing. We can delete the first in chat counters because we don't need that. And then, of course, the message here will be user is third. And then we can delete that line because it doesn't matter. And then, of course, their message here, user is third in chat. And then we can delete everything else. Of course, you can make your messages say whatever you prefer, right? So we have all of that done for first, second, and third. Now, what we need to do, though, is also we need to remove the trigger because we don't want the trigger to be run on everything. So we're going to go to all 3 of them. Yes, all 3. And we're just going to delete the trigger. So we're just going to right click and choose delete, verify. And so none of ours have a trigger now. You can see there's nothing here. So we need to make one that is going to have the trigger, but it's also going to populate the correct variables. So we're going to come over here and we're going to make a new one, and we're going to call this one first chat redeem something, right? We're going to say okay, and now we got that. We have our blank one. Okay, and then so the first thing we got to do is we got to get a global, and we're going to pretend that the global already exists, because if it doesn't exist, it will be created, and that's what we want because it is temporary. So we can skip the setting the global, and we can just get the global. Okay, so we're going to come in here. Let me zoom in for you. We're going to right click. We're going to go to core. We're going to go to globals, and we're going to global get. Okay, and then we're going to get this little pop up here. We want it to be global, but we want it to be non-persistent. So that way, when we close Streamer.bot, we end our stream. When we start it up again for the next stream, it resets everything. Okay, so the variable name is going to be something that you recognize, that you can identify, but it does have to be unique. So I'm just going to name this one first chatter today, just to be different. The destination variable can also be the same. As before, you can add the argument or whatever you want to it if you would like to. The default value is going to be 1. So we want to give it a variable so it won't get stored as something different. And then if the variable is not found, it is set to the default set. So basically, it's looking for this variable. If it doesn't find it, which it's not going to because we haven't set it, it's going to create it and give it this value. So we're going to say that. Now, because this is the main action that we're going to tie the trigger to, this is the one that we need to get the redeem from. So we're going to come in here. We're going to go to Twitch. We're going to get user info from target, and then from user, and we're going to say, okay. Now, because we have it here, we do not need it in these other ones. So we can actually come in here and remove this. Say yes. We can come in here. We can delete that. and say yes, and we can come in here and we can get this and we can say yes, because these are going to be tied in a moment to this sub action. Okay. So because we've already added that info, we don't need to add it again. It'll actually break the bot and your things won't perform correctly. So now that we have this, what we're going to do is once it has been redeemed, so once somebody has clicked on the redeem, we're going to change the cost of it. So it costs a little bit more to be second or third in chat. Okay, so we're going to come in here. We're going to go to Twitch. We're going to go to rewards, and then we're going to set cost. Okay. And when you do that, you're going to come up here, you're going to pick your reward. So our reward was, what do we call it? First in chat, first one here. So the cost is going to be 10. And then the operator, we're going to add 10 to the original cost. So if we say, okay, you'll see here, reward set cost will add 10 to cost at time of run. So basically what this means is every time that it is run, it will increase the cost for 10. So first in chat, it'll cost 10. For second in chat, it'll cost 20. For third in chat, it'll cost 30, and so on and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. So now we get to do some if statements to bring in which redeem we need to be using. So we're going to come in here. We're going to go back to core. We're going to go to logic this time, and if else. And then we're going to come up here, and if our variable, which is the one we set up here, first chatter today. So if first chatter today, not today, equals 1, then we're going to run our first in chat redeem. So we look for that. We come down here through all of my other bullshit. And scroll down. Where are we at? Testing. We're in test. Here it is. Okay. First in chat redeem. We're going to say select, and then it's going to run that action immediately and then break because we don't want it to run anything else. If it doesn't equal 1 else, we're not going to do anything and we're going to continue. And we're just going to say okay to that. So now you have this here. So if first chatter today equals 1, we're going to run first in chat redeem. Then we're going to break. If it doesn't equal 1, we're going to continue. So now we can duplicate this. So we're just going to come down here and duplicate. We're going to come in here. We're going to set this to 2. And we're going to do the second in chat. And then break, or else continue. And then since we have a third one, we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to duplicate again. We'll double click into here. We will check 3. If it equals 3, we're going to do third in chat redeem, or else we're going to do nothing and then continue. Okay. So now we have it set up here so that it's going to create this variable with a default value of 1. So that at the start of our stream, it is set to 1. So if it equals 1, the first time it's redeemed, it will run our first in chat redeem, which then shows their profile picture, says the message, keeps their count, all of that good stuff, right? And then we need to tell these redeems now to increment this variable right here. Does that make sense? So what we want to do is we want to go into our first redeem. So the first thing we want to do is we want to come back into here. Now this is all this stuff that we got here. Now we've already incremented the redeemer first chatter by 1 so that it knows that we need the first message and all of that, right? This keeps the count of who, how many times they've been first. So we want to keep that. But what we want to do also is we want to increment the count right away for the variable to go to 2 so that the next person doesn't get first in chat again. And disclaimer here, because the way that all of this works through Twitch, if you have 2 people that redeem it at about the same time, they will both get the first in chat. It's something that's going to happen from time to time. But normally, as long as there's like at least 1 second between when somebody clicks the first redeem, it won't be a problem. I have it happen probably once or twice a week, maybe on mine, where that somebody redeems it at the same time. There kind of isn't really a way around that, to be fair. without a lot of extra coding and scripting, which I have found just isn't worth it. So that's just something to keep in mind, and which is why we add the first in chat count, because it also helps determine, oh, you've been first 7 times compared to the first person that's been first 26 times. Obviously, that's something where they can get their bragging rights back if they happen to both redeem first at the same time. All right, so let's get back on track. We want to do this again. So we're going to come in here. We're going to go to core. We're going to go to globals, and then we're going to set. Now we need to set this global. It is a non-persisted global. Remember, very important. And the variable name was first chatter today, right? So first chatter today. And then we're going to increment by 1. So now we're going to drag this up to the very top, very, very top, because we need to do that right away so that this gets done. Now, another cool thing we get to do is we can change what the channel point redeem says and the prompt is for. So because first in chat, if we look over here, it says first one here is the title, and then the prompt says be the first one here. But if they're the second one, it should say something different. So we can come over here into our sub actions again. We can right click now. We're going to go to Twitch. We're going to go back to rewards. And this time we're going to set the prompt and title. So it doesn't matter which one you do first, but we'll do the title first. So we're going to pick the prompt, which is our first in. Where did it go? We got to find it. I can't see because I don't know how to read, apparently. First one here. There it is. So now we want the new title to be second one here. Okay. And we're going to set that right away as well. Now we can do this after all of this if you want to, but I find to keep it all kind of where they're doing the channel points all together. And then it makes it a little bit easier. So now we're going to go back into Twitch. We're going to go back into the rewards, and this time we're going to set the prompt. Now remember, the prompt is what it says inside. So after they click on it, that's this little message here. So ours says be the first one here. Let's close that down. We want ours to say be the second one here, right? So we're going to come in here, find our redeem again, first one here, and we're going to say be the second one here, right? Whatever. Okay. We're going to say, okay, we're going to drag that up as well. Now, remember, we've already increased the cost over on the default once they've clicked it. So this will cost 20, but this is what their message will say now, their prompt and title. And then we get to do all of our things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this sub action, which is the increment temp to global, and we're just going to paste that in both of these other ones. So we're going to paste it there, and we're going to paste it in number 3, and then we're going to go back to number 2. This needs to be dragged all the way to the top. And then the same thing, we can just copy and paste the reward set title, copy, we'll come into 2, we'll paste it there, we'll come into number 3, and we're going to paste it there. We're going to come back to number 1, we're going to grab the prompt, we're going to copy that, we're going to go to 2, we're going to paste it there, we're going to go to 3, we're going to paste it there. So now we don't have to retype and refind all of that crap everywhere. So we're going to go to second redeem now. We're going to move this up here, and we're going to move this one up here, and then we're going to come in here. Obviously, this one is going to be third, right? Because we're on the second chat, but now we're setting the reward for the next person in line. So we're going to be the third one here. Okay. Of course, obviously, you can make these say whatever you want. But then in the third one, what we want to do is we want to bring these all to the very top. So the increment needs to go to the very top. We need to come up here and set these as well. So this one is going to be, because this is our last one. And of course, if you have a 4th or a 5th, you need to keep going. But we're just going to say no more spots. And then the prompt will be too late. Okay. but then it's still got to run the thing for the third person in chat, which we've already set here. Now, one thing I like to do is on the third one is we're going to disable that button so that nobody can use it. Okay, so now that we've got our third one set up, let's go back to our first in chat redeem. So now we have our default here. It checks which one, but remember we did if it's equals 3, we got to do the third in chat, which I misspelled and I just see that, but oh well, it knows what it's talking about. And then it continues if it's not. So if the redeem equals number 4, then what do? Well, what we want to do is we want to get it to where nobody can use the redeem, right? Because all 3 have already been taken. So if you have 4 or 5 or whatever, obviously you're going to have more. But what I like to do here is disable the use of the button so nobody else can redeem it. Because again, the cost is still going to increase every time it's clicked on. The prompt and all that and the title or all that are going to change every time it's used. So we want to prevent that from going on anymore. So we want to come in here. We're going to go to Twitch. We're going to go to rewards and we're going to set a pause state. So we're going to do that. We're going to find our redeem, which is the first one here. We're going to set it to paused and we're going to say okay. So if it is higher than 3, which once the third one is redeemed, it'll change it to 4. Then we're just going to pause that button and nobody will be able to use it. And because we set the third in chat, we've set that to say you're too late and there's no more spots. It makes sense that the button becomes unclickable then. Okay. One thing I want to interject here is now that we have the first, second, third ones set where it changes the title, the prompt, and the cost, this will stay even when you end your stream and then start the next one. So we need to have a way to reset everything back to the original so that the first person in chat for the next stream is the first person in chat according to the text and the message in chat, right? So what I have done is I have a start command for my stream. Zoom in here for you. And so basically, whenever I hit the deck button to start my stream, and this is not actually starting stream, in OBS, but on my deck, I have a button for start, and it runs a whole lot of different things. So this is where it sets what scene I'm on. It sets all of my, my mic to muted and all the visibility states for all of my alerts and everything back to their default status, ready for the stream. One of the things that we do here is you're going to want to do this. You're going to want to set your title for the redeem and set it back to first one here or whatever it is you had for the original, right? And then you're going to want to set the prompt back to, be the first one here, and then set your cost. Now with the cost, you're just going to tell it the cost here, which is 10, and just make sure that the operator is set to none. And that way it won't multiply or divide or anything like that. It'll just set it directly back to 10. So when we do the redeem, then when we click the button on our deck or we start streaming, whatever your trigger is, for example, to run all of your pre-stream resets, then it'll automatically put that redeem back to original. So when you do click start stream and you do go live, the redeems will have been reset. So the first person to come in to your chat then has the variables are set back to 1. It runs the first in chat. It gives them the right price with the right title, and then everything updates after that. So make sure that you have your resets done somewhere before you start your stream, and whether you go in and do it manually or do it like I have, where you have a deck button that runs all of that for you, that is up to you. But I find it easier to just push my button, get everything reset. As you can see, like I have quite a bit here that I reset back to its default state after running a stream. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. And as long as you do your resets back to what they were originally, what you're setting up now in the first one here, then you will have no problems. So now we should have one redeem with 3 uses. So let's check that out. We're going to have to add the trigger. So we're going to come in here. We're going to go to our reward redemption, and then we're going to find our reward, our first one here, and we're going to say, okay. So now it's tied to this redeem, which will then check what that variable is. It'll add 10 to the cost. It'll fire off 1, 2, or 3, or then unpause the button. So let's test all of that out. So if we come in here and we take a look, here's our redeem. First one here, be the first one here, and it costs 10. So if we click on it, we've redeemed it. There's our image and our message. There is our count has been incremented. Now we're on 7. So if we look at it again, we'll see, oh, now it's over here. It says second one in chat. If we click on it, be the second one here, and it costs 20. And if we click on it now, I should still get my profile picture, but it should say second one in chat instead of that whole first message, right? Bearded is second in chat. Bearded is second in chat. So now, again, if we check it again, now it's over here because of the cost. It sorts by cost on Twitch. Third one here, be the third one here, costs 30. We click it. Bearded Ink is third in chat. Bearded Ink is third in chat. Now it should cost 40. So you can see now that the reward is temporarily unavailable. That's because it has been paused. So we are too late. We can't redeem this one anymore, right? Just like we had planned on there. So we should be pretty much good to go. So I hope that helped you out, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. But hopefully you can get some use out of that. I would love to see what you come up with. If you have other ideas of ways to celebrate the first viewer to your live stream, drop that in the comments below and let me know how you've used your first in chat redeems as well. So let's go back over here and we'll wrap it up. All right, so there you go. We set up a basic one, right? A channel point redeem where people can come in and say they're first. We've added a counter to it to let us know how many times they were first. We have also added on screen, so it'll have their profile picture and a message. Of course, you can make that as wild as you want and have celebrations and fireworks and sounds and whatever you want, right? And then we also added multiple instances so people can be first, second, third, all the way up, to 10th in chat if you would like. It depends on what you want to do. But using only one channel point redeem slot to make that happen. But if you have any issues, drop a comment down below. If you found the video helpful, click the little thumbs up button. It makes me feel good inside every time I see a new like on one of my tutorials. If you're new to the channel, hi, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed your time. If you would like, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to know when I post a new tutorial. And we also go live here on YouTube every Saturday, almost without fail, to answer your questions about streaming, about OBS, about your bots, anything streaming related. We do that live and we answer your questions right there on screen. So come and stop by on Saturdays, and we'd love to have you hang out for a while. If you found this video unhelpful in any way, go ahead and give me that thumbs down. All I ask is that if you do give the video a thumbs down, please leave a comment below to let me know why you gave me a thumbs down. That way it helps me moving forward to make sure that I don't make the same mistakes again, and that I can get better and give you more valuable information. But that's it. So enjoy your first in chat redeems. And until next time, everybody, love, peace, and chicken grease.